So I guess it's super competitive in China. I mean, it seems like the Chinese divers are just so dominating. So what are the factors then in terms of the things that separate the Chinese from the rest of the world? They're starting at the same age, they're getting similar coaching, but once they get to a certain level, they're completely dominating. So what do you think the difference is?
Well, I think, yeah, obviously a lot of people that in the diving world know, yes, Chinese diver, they do practice a long hour, and that includes myself as well. I used to be practicing a long hours in my background. And one thing that I really recognize once I didn't recognize earlier when I was an athlete, when I was in competing as an NCAA athlete.
Mm,
But now as a coach, I kind of like slowly kind of figure out like, oh, what is the differences? Because that's something that I want to know. Like
mm,
we are spending the same time, if we are using the same resources that we have, then what is really the differences? Why are they so good? And what can I help to bring the diver to the next level in here in the US? And so I think one thing that I really recognize is that we wanted to be perfect. We wanted to be a perfect, like a perfection
mm-hmm,
when I was training in China. So what Chinese, I think, like just my personal opinion, that
mm-hmm,
I think in China we're looking for perfection, but then
mm,
in the US that now I'm coaching, I think we are more towards to professional. And so
mm,
we are doing the same thing that other people's doing, and we are very professional, but perfection is another way. Like we in China, we want to be perfect. We want to be S every single dive. The judges cannot see anything. Like they can take off even a
mm.
point 0.5 points out of that dive. But in US, we are still, trying to be profession. If that, yeah.
It's interesting. It's an interesting perspective, professional as opposed to perfectionist, and that's an interesting concept. So the way that I think that, or I kind of analyze that, is as a professional, you do things the right way, but as a perfectionist, you only do things to the point where you're satisfied with it being perfect, right?
Yeah.
And there becomes almost an obsession then of the perfection then takes over from just the professionalism of like, okay,
Mhm.
I missed a dive. All right, well, I'll come back and do it tomorrow. Whereas as a perfectionist, it's more like I'm going to get this right now, and I'm not leaving until I get it right. Would that be correct?
Yes, that is totally correct. I totally 100% agrees with your points, and I think that's what I'm seeing right now today as a coach and as a very high performing athlete when I was younger, and so that's I think we are getting better. I think USA diving and divers in the US is like getting there. Is like I wanted to be better step by step, but we are still in the point like there to be a professional instead of perfection.